goodies. I'm starting to become a little uneasy. Why? Well, today I'm about to face my fear. My biggest fear. What is that? You'll find out in just a little bit. What will you face today, though? Oh yeah, we're going to be talking all about conjunctive adverbs. And who am I? You already know. My name is Mr. Goodie Grammar, and I'm here to provide you with all your English grammar needs. Let's get it started.
But before we begin, make sure to download the free guided notes in the description box below. The notes and the episode have matching badges that help you follow along with each section. Also, underline any maroon text that appears in the episode to identify key concepts and key terms. It's the shopping list your mom always forgot to take to the grocery store.
Woo! Before we can begin unpacking conjunctive adverbs, I think we should get started with a little basket breaker.
Uh-oh.
For this week's basket breaker, the question is, why are transition words and phrases important? Why do we put them in our writing? All right, what did you get? I'll go ahead and give you my answer. Transition words and phrases are important for various reasons. For example, they create flow, also clarity, and in fact, they show the relationship between different words, clauses, and phrases. Whoa! And whoa! I know you're super pumped about today's topic, conjunctive adverbs. So why don't we go ahead and dive in to today's concept. So let's go ahead and drink up some radioactive waste.
3, 2, 1.
First off, as a review, let's go ahead and remind ourselves exactly what a conjunction is. Although today we're talking about conjunctive adverbs, I really feel that it is important to remember kind of the primary function of conjunctions. What is a conjunction? Well, let me sprinkle it back into your brain. A conjunction is a word or phrase that connects different words, phrases, and clauses. It's the glue of sentences. And you'll see how that will play out today as we talk about conjunctive adverbs. But what is a conjunctive adverb? Great question. A conjunctive adverb is a word or short phrase that provides a link to the previous independent clause or sentence. In fact, it shows the relationship between the two, and we can use it in various ways. It's basically that word or words that help create the flow, clarity, and show how different thoughts are connected. Before we get into exactly how we use conjunctive adverbs, let's go ahead and simplify it for a second. There are tons of conjunctive adverbs. However, I'm going to teach you an acronym to remember 6 basic conjunctive adverbs. The acronym is THAMOS. Much like we use the acronym fanboys to remember coordinating conjunctions, and SWABI to remember subordinating conjunctions, we use THAMOS in order to remember 6 basic conjunctive adverbs. That way, you always have something to remind you of at least a couple of words that you can use to transition and show relationships between ideas. But what do the letters of THAMOS represent? Let me go ahead and break it down. The T stands for therefore. The H stands for however. The A stands for also. The M stands for meanwhile. The O stands for otherwise. And the S stands for subsequently. And to understand and give a little bit more insight into what each of these conjunctive adverbs mean, let's look at them a little bit deeper. As stated, the T stands for therefore. It can also be defined or synonymous with the words so, then, and thus. It's gonna come into a conclusion, given that little reason there. The H stands for however, and however is synonymous with yet. Other fanboys, right? The A in THAMOS stands for also. And we can go ahead and say it's synonymous or closely defined with the words likewise and additionally. It's adding on. The M stands for meanwhile, which is synonymous with the words meantime and for the time being. It's going on. Meanwhile this. The O stands for otherwise, which can be closely defined as differently or if not. And the S stands for subsequently, which can be defined as after or later on. It's not first in chronological order. It comes after something. Now, let's talk all about how we use conjunctive adverbs or THAMOS in sentences. And we're also going to do a deep dive into exactly what punctuation we will use with conjunctive adverbs and when to use them. In fact, we can actually place conjunctive adverbs into different spots within a sentence. Let's go ahead and break down a couple of sentence structures. Keep in mind, we're really going to use THAMOS as our practice words to really reinforce exactly how we use them and putting it into our memories. Yeah! That was really high-pitched. Let's go ahead and look at our first arrangement. Let's say that we want to create a compound sentence. We want to put 2 independent clauses together. Well, how do we do that and add a conjunctive adverb to show the relationship between the 2 clauses? Let me show you. As we know, we can use a semicolon between 2 independent clauses to join them together. And they're usually very, very similar in ideas. In this case, though, I want to specify the relationship between both independent clauses. So I can add a conjunctive adverb into a sentence to show that flow and basically indicate how the second independent clause relates to the first. Let's look at this example. For this example, we have, I am terrified of dolphins, semicolon. Therefore, I do not swim in the ocean. As you can see, we have two independent clauses that are closely related in ideas, and they are connected with a semicolon. In order to show the relationship between the two, what I can do is put a conjunctive adverb after the semicolon with a comma in order to transition into the second independent clause. We use therefore to show the relationship between the two. I am terrified of dolphins. Therefore, or for that reason, I do not swim in the ocean. So, for this arrangement, we have an independent clause, followed by a semicolon, followed by, that conjunctive adverb, then a comma, followed by independent clause number 2. In essence, it's actually really simple to do this. You're just taking your two independent clauses, of course that semicolon, and putting a conjunctive adverb after that semicolon to show the relationship. Just keep in mind, after you have that conjunctive adverb, make sure to put that comma to offset it from the independent clause that follows. Quick note, after the semicolon, do not capitalize the conjunctive adverb. It's not necessary. It's not a new sentence, nor is it a proper noun. So, do not capitalize the conjunctive adverb after the semicolon. Let's go ahead and look at another arrangement in which we can use a conjunctive adverb. We'll go ahead and use the same independent clauses that we went over in the first arrangement. Here's the example. I am terrified of dolphins, period. Therefore, comma, I do not swim in the ocean. Here, it's a little bit different from the arrangement before. You'll find that there are actually two separate sentences. They aren't combined together with a semicolon. We have our first independent clause. I am terrified of dolphins, period. And then, if we want our next sentence to show the relationship between the two, we can actually start the sentence with a conjunctive adverb. Now we can go ahead and capitalize that conjunctive adverb, therefore, because it starts the sentence. So we have, therefore, comma, I do not swim in the ocean. The difference here is that we are separating our clauses into two separate sentences. However, we keep the same meaning. All we're doing is putting that therefore at the start of the next sentence with that comma, so it indicates that we're building off the first independent clause. Again, you'll notice that both arrangements carry the same meaning. The only difference is the way that they are structured and organized. To reiterate, we can actually start a sentence with a conjunctive adverb. It's not a problem. We just capitalize it, put that comma behind it, and then throw in that independent clause. Keep in mind, you want to make sure that if you start a sentence with a conjunctive adverb, it needs to build off the sentence or independent clause that comes before it. And now, our fourth and final arrangement that we're going to go over today is all about how a conjunctive adverb can, boom, interrupt a sentence or a clause. It jumps right in there and says, hold up, I'm inserting myself here to show that relationship, to also maybe add variety to your sentence structure. It's very much a, bah, look at me, I'm here, I'm interrupting. And we actually use parenthetical commas, or what I like to call double commas, to interrupt the sentence or clause with the conjunctive adverb. It sets it apart from the rest of the clause. And it's very much adding to the look at me, look at me, look at me. Because if we just plop a conjunctive adverb into the middle of a clause without setting it apart with commas, it's going to look really, really weird. And the flow, it's going to fail. Let's go ahead and look at an example. Example, I will never swim in the ocean, period. I, however, think that the ocean is very interesting. In this sentence, I started with the first independent clause, I will never swim in the ocean, period. That's our first sentence. But then let's build off of it with I, and then interject that however with the double commas. Think the ocean is very interesting. Whoa! I could have easily put this. I will never swim in the ocean, period. However, comma, I think the ocean is very interesting. Totally fine. That was one of our arrangements. In this case, we have a stylistic choice of where we want to add that conjunctive adverb. In this case, we're inserting it into the middle of an independent clause. We have I, double commas, however, think the ocean is very interesting. It's just plopping it in there. It's a different spot within the sentence. I usually recommend putting the double commas and that conjunctive adverb after the subject of the sentence. But it's not always like that. Once again, you'll see, regardless of the arrangement, the meaning stays the same. Woo! Let's push supervillains aside for a second. And I think we should ask for some employee assistance.
We need some employee assistance.
For this section, here's what I want you to do. Read each sentence carefully, and then determine if the punctuation in each sentence is correct. Really think about the different arrangements that we went over. Where do we put a comma, a period, even a semicolon? Pay close attention to where the different punctuation marks go in accordance to where the conjunctive adverb is. Again, read each sentence carefully and determine if the punctuation is correct. If it isn't, change it to be correct. If not, leave it alone. It's beautiful. Example. The crows were not afraid of the scarecrow. Therefore, they easily ate all of the farmer's crops. Fear me! Fear me! Fear me! No? Well, at least go give me a corn on the cob. Is this sentence punctuated correctly? Answer: absolutely. You'll see, once again, we have two independent clauses, joined together with a semicolon, the conjunctive adverb therefore, and a comma directly after it, which really helps the flow. Example: Jared has awful breath. Also, he eats way too much candy. What's going on? You're not Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Listen, I know I did not brush my teeth.
But we are at the chocolate factory. Chocolate! Chocolate!
Chocolate. No.
Is this sentence correct? Answer: no, absolutely not. Why? Well, there's a little detail that you might have overlooked. You'll notice that, yes, there are two independent clauses. There is a semicolon, and we do have a conjunctive adverb. Whoa, sounds pretty good, right? No. What's missing there is a boop, comma, right after that conjunctive adverb. You need to make sure to put the comma after the conjunctive adverb to offset it from the rest of the independent clause. Example: Timmy's parents do not allow him to eat pasta. However, he secretly eats it at 3 a.m.
I have to be very quiet so they don't hear me because I love pasta. Huh? You hear that? Why wasn't I just born in Italy? Oh, I'm so tired.
Is this sentence correct? Answer: absolutely. We have two independent clauses, a semicolon, that conjunctive adverb directly after it, and a comma, making this compound sentence absolutely correct. And how'd you do? I bet you crushed it. Like, boom! So, we need to go ahead and put your skills to the test by doing an eye check.
Let's go.
For this week's eye check, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and read you a passage. This passage is not punctuated correctly. You need to go through and see where we can add some punctuation, or maybe take some punctuation out. We want to make sure that the sentence structures are correct and that we are punctuating it properly based off of, boom, the conjunctive adverbs used in this passage. So, as a reminder, read this passage and fix any grammatical errors with punctuation and just basic arrangement. Think you could do that? I know you can. Get it started. Your Honor, my name is Randall. However, my friends call me Randy. The interesting thing about me is that I am a lawyer and I love to practice law. I like to argue for those that do not have a voice. Meanwhile, many other lawyers try to silence voices. I find that frustrating. Therefore, I make it my mission to work even harder to speak up for my clients. Otherwise, I'm unsure who will speak up for them. Oh, good job, Randy. Good job. So go ahead and look at this passage and add and fix any punctuation. Pay close attention to the conjunctive adverbs used in this passage. How'd you do? I bet you crushed it. Let's go ahead and look at the answer. My name is Randall, semicolon. However, comma, my friends call me Randy. The interesting thing about me is that I'm a lawyer, comma, and I love to practice law. That's a compound sentence. I like to argue for those who do not have a voice. Meanwhile, comma, many other lawyers try to silence voices. I find that to be frustrating. Semicolon. Therefore, comma, I make it my mission to work even harder to speak up for them. Otherwise, comma, I'm unsure who will speak up for them. As you'll see in this example, we use various arrangements of conjunctive adverbs. In some sentences, we put the conjunctive adverb directly after the semicolon with a comma. In other cases, we actually started different sentences with conjunctive adverbs, followed by the comma. It's pretty cool, right? And relatively easy. Just make sure to use the sentence formulas to always remind you of the correct way to form these sentences. And also, if you didn't get everything correct, no sweat. Keep in mind, learning new concepts takes time and practice. And I'm here to help you every step of the way. With that in mind, I think it's time that we start checking out. Whoa, grammar goodies. Now that you got that into your noggin, I hope that you acquire the Infinity Gauntlet and take over the universe of grammar. Nothing happened. Oh. Anyway, my name is Mr. Goodie Grammar. Thank you so much for dropping by General Grammar. And come in anytime. I'll see ya.